You talking mad spit right now, Matt?
Fucking thuckatash, yeah. Straight spit.
Thucker and thuck death. All right, so what have you guys been up to this week? Just work?
A lot of work and a lot of online shopping for me since it was like the week of Black Friday and or I guess that was last week, right? But you know, it's all these Black Fridays and Cyber Monday sales, so I've been taking advantage of that and finding some good deals, some new equipment to upgrade and things like that.
Like what are you upgrading?
A mixer, new computer, uh new microphone, some
And
lights,
another
a
new
little bit of
computer?
everything. Another new computer, yeah. Yeah, you know how impossible it is to get the RTX 3090, George? It's like literally impossible.
Well,
No, it's like
I think Matt has 3070, don't you, Matt? Or 3060?
3060 Ti.
yeah.
And
Yeah, the 3090
I had the
like
3070, but it was messing up.
well, I mean, you have the 3060 Ti, so it's up there.
Yeah.
It's very close to the 3070, right?
It was a lot better than what I had before.
It functioned. I call that better.
I had a recycle bin GPU. All thanks to George finding me a GPU in the recycle bin.
Yeah, I mean,
Nice.
it was just laying there. I'm like, I'm gonna take that from Matt, and I took it and I gave it to him, and the rest is history.
Yep.
George, you pulled out some
still.
stuff from you pulled out things from the recycled bin before. I think you pulled out like a universal controller, gave it to Gabriel, and then he left it over here. So now I have both. I'm
George
like,
is
because you
like a
gave me a
god
universal controller.
tier dumpster diver.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I got the universal one, the Harmony remote, and I got a Blue Yeti microphone that was still working, and headphones,
Nice.
and of course, I'm not going to say the company that I'm working for, but because we are recording, but it's Best Buy, straight up.
What? You didn't tell me we were recording. You recorded my voice without my authorization, sir. Lawsuit.
Sorry, Matthew.
Cancel
Sorry.
culture.
So I guess
I'm assuming this is how the podcast will start, right, George?
Yeah, I mean,
with
usually
us talking about the bin, pulling just stuff out of the bin.
Yeah,
Garbage.
The garbage.
Garbage diver.
Yeah. So my name is George. I'll let these other two guys introduce themselves. Matt, I'll go with you because the last time you didn't introduce yourself.
Hey, my name is Matt Fishping.
And I am Steve. I was not here last time, but I am here now.
I was looking at notes. I'm like,
and yeah, I have like a soundboard so that when there's like just like that drop silence right there, just throw in some crickets.
Some little chirp, chirp, chirp.
Yeah, if you can edit that, George, put some crickets in there.
So okay, so let's first start off with Steve. You went and watched Resident Evil, correct?
I did.
Okay,
yes.
So without spoiling anything, just lay it on us. Lay down the wood.
All right. So you want a non what? My wood? All right.
Give us your Rotten Steve rating.
Oh, Rotten Steve rating? Okay. Well, who here has seen it? Just me, right?
Just
Matt, have you seen it?
I have not
just
seen
me.
it yet.
Okay. All right. Well, just to be clear, I consider myself a big Resident Evil fan, right? I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but I do know the lore. I do know the characters' lores. I know timelines. I know stuff like that. I also went into this movie knowing exactly what I was getting myself into, right? This movie was directed by a director that does low budget horror films, correct. And I know we talked about this last time. He does 47 meters down, which Matt, you did say you saw and it was pretty good, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, this movie has a budget of about $25 million, which seems like a lot of money, right? But in terms of Hollywood movie money, that's hardly anything. As an example, like there was a new Halloween movie that came out. I forgot what the name was. Does anyone, George? What's the name of the new Halloween movie that came out?
Halloween Resurrection? Nah, I don't know. I have no
Resurrection.
idea.
Halloween Kills, I think.
Kills or yeah.
There you go. Yeah, Halloween Kills. That movie had a budget of around 20 million. So it had about the same budget as Resident Evil. And just an example, the scope, like I haven't seen Halloween Kills and I don't know exactly what it's about, but it's probably about Michael Myers chasing people with a big knife, right? And they're just running around all over the place. So you can get away with doing a movie like that for a low budget, $20 million. You can just get actors, pay the actors, stuff like that. You don't have to think about crazy CGI and stuff like that. So when it comes to a movie like Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City, where it's taking stuff from Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2 and has to worry about other stuff other than just zombies. So you got BOWs, like you have monsters, right? I'm just gonna say monsters. That's set pieces. There's a lot of stuff in that movie that is being taken directly from the game, like visuals, set pieces, like props, costumes. There's a lot, right? It has a lot of fan service stuff from the games in this movie. So $25 million is not a lot for the scope of what this movie is trying to accomplish. That being said, I think that what this director did with $25 million, what he accomplished in this movie, which is about an hour and 40 minutes long, he did a good job. I thought that he did a fairly good job considering the budget limitations that he had. I feel like maybe it would have been a better call to just put all this budget into RE1 and just focus on Resident Evil 1, which is in a mansion, instead of trying to do both movies. But he decided to do both movies. He is indeed a big Resident Evil fan. It is quite obvious. He put a lot of little Easter eggs from different Resident Evils in there. And he definitely likes Claire Redfield. And it is very apparent that he likes Claire Redfield in this movie. But that being said, my overall review would be like, let me just drop a rating on you guys, right? 1 being terrible, 5 being average, 7 being good, and 10 being
perfect.
A personal favorite, right?
Okay. So
I would give this.
Hold on. So before you give the rating, I want you to give a rating, if you can, a rating as a Resident Evil fan and a rating as just a moviegoer, someone that's not a fan of the series.
Well, I mean, it's hard to say. There's a lot of Resident Evil fans that are like, like, what do you mean as a rating as a Resident Evil fan, George? Like, what do you mean by that?
Okay, so you are a huge Resident Evil fan. So you went in here, you saw it as a fan, and tell me what you thought as a Resident Evil fan. Your rating. Then just go back
as a Resident,
and then go back and act and pretend like you're like Matt, someone that's not like a huge fan.
Well, okay. Well, I think this would be better if I do it like this, George. Crap. If I were to rate this movie as how similar it is to the games, like is this a 1-to-1 representation of the video games? I would give it a low rating. How about I just say that?
Yeah, no, I'll take it.
Like like, you know what I mean? Like it, like, oh, this happened this way in this game. This character is this way in this and in this Resident Evil game. The director definitely takes stuff from the games, right? The characters are there from the games, most of them, right? Not all of them. Some of the monsters are there from the games. Some of the things that from the games are in this movie. However, he tells the story his own way. So you pretty much he is a Resident Evil fan that decided to, what if RE1 and RE2 happened at the same time? And he just did it that way. He told the story how he thought would work best for what he was trying to do. So again, if you are a Resident Evil fan that knows nothing about anything of this movie other than like you love the games and you go in there thinking that it's going to be exactly like the games, you will be disappointed. Because while it is Resident Evil, aesthetics, and it has all this Resident Evil stuff in there, it is definitely telling its own story. There's a lot of different spins on like characters and stuff like that, but the way the director handled it, I think, was a good. If in all honesty, I think this was the best way he could have handled it, considering that he was merging one Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2. Because like I don't know, man. It's like I don't know how else he would have been able to tell the story otherwise. Uh, Especially with the time that he had and the money that he has. Uh, I personally give this movie a 7 out of 10. I think it's a good movie.
Okay.
It could have been better. It could have been better. It could have been an 8. Um, but considering the budget that he had and stuff like that, I think he did a good job. It is a horror movie. I do want to, point that out. The music that plays in this movie is very like horror themed, and the zombies are definitely the stars of this movie. Like he did a really good job on portraying the zombies. And overall, I was pleasantly surprised by what I saw. It wasn't a masterpiece. It wasn't a personal favorite. It wasn't a great film. I would say 8 out of 10 would be a great film. This was just a good film. I enjoyed my time. I was entertained, and hopefully this movie does well in theaters so that there will be a sequel, because it definitely is being left open for a sequel. So yeah, uh that's my overall, spoilery review of it, I guess you would call that a review.
Right. Well, I mean, no, that's what we
Yeah.
wanted. That's what I wanted to hear is because we're gonna go watch it. I mean, you're gonna go watch it again with me, hopefully next week on Sunday.
Yeah, I do want to watch it with you again, George. Like I want to watch it again because I want to, I feel like I could maybe see more what I didn't see, or just I think it's good to watch something again,
Right.
for a better look on it. Other than the actors, I really didn't know very many actors in this movie. Like I do know that there was the actress that plays Claire. She was the leading role female character in the Pirates of the Caribbean movie, like the newest one that came out. Dead Man Tell No Tales.
Yeah.
So she's a pretty big actress. Tom Hopper, of course, is Wesker. That's another actor I know. And I do know that there was a stunt double that I do recognize, Stephanie Hawkins. I saw her in the credits, and I was like, Stephanie Hawkins was in this movie. So she's like a really good professional stunt woman. So I'm pretty sure she was one of the zombies.
I think she was, because I think I saw her
Yeah.
name. And it said zombie right next to it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'd like to go see it again so I can maybe see if I can find her in the movie. I think I know who it is though, now that I think about it. But yeah, again, 7 out of 10. It was I was pleasantly surprised. My dad saw it with me, and he doesn't know the lore, obviously, of Resident Evil, and he
Right.
enjoyed it. He did
Okay.
enjoy the movie. So he didn't feel lost in the movie. He was following it. He was following what was happening pretty well. The Resident Evil movie, it's an interesting thing that the director decided to do. He always had a time, like a timer running during the movie. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the advertising of Resident Evil 2 remake. There was one of the trailers had like a time clock that would like count like the time that certain events were happening on the trailer. Like for instance, like Leon and Claire arrive in Raccoon City on this date on this time, like at 9 p.m. Uh the movie does that. It does like a constant timer like that's counting up. That's like it's like 9 p.m. right now. Oh, now it's 12 p.m. or sorry, 12 a.m. Now it's 2 in the morning. And I thought that was an interesting take on how he did that.
Okay.
Um yeah.
So,
Overall I thought the acting was decent, it wasn't terrible. Zombies were great.
all right. So okay. So a 7 out of 10 for you, Matt. I know you didn't watch it, but I know you did watch Cowboy Bebop. I mean, you didn't watch all of it,
Mhm.
but you did
Yeah, I'm
watch
like,
some of it.
I think I'm at the last couple episodes, but so far it's been really good.
Have you seen some, Steve, of Cowboy Bebop?
I have, yeah. I've seen like 3, I think I've seen 4 episodes with my brother. And it definitely does have a different take from the anime for sure. Um I'm sure Matt can agree with me there.
Yeah. I mean, there were some of the same names and characters and somewhat of the storyline, but I mean, like they took a different like path on some of it. But other
Yeah.
than that, it's
Yeah.
been really good.
And I agree with Matt there. It's I was pleasantly surprised that how much I liked it. At first I was a little like dumbstruck by like how some of the characters were changed, or like their backstories and stuff like that. But after when, the more episodes I watched, the more I started to feel like, you know what, this is probably for the best, right? Otherwise, because in the anime, some of these characters don't even appear, like they hardly appear. And this way, it's a different take on them for sure, but you at least get to see character development on some of these characters. Uh, so while I haven't finished the live action Cowboy Bebop, I feel like it's still better to watch the anime first, and then you can watch. Or, I mean, either or is fine. I feel like the live action is good, and the anime is really good. So yeah, I liked it. I can't give a rating because I haven't finished it, but I do like what I saw so far.
Yeah, I've only seen the first episode, and they looked. I mean, I haven't seen the anime, um, but I thought it was pretty good. I do remember the intro though to the anime, so they nailed
Hmm.
that pretty good. Me and Matt were
Yeah.
talking
Oh
about
yeah.
that, and Matt said he was dancing in the background, because it was just
Oh yeah.
so
It's
close to it.
it's one of those intros that you never skip, right? Like there's some animes that you end up skipping intros or like, whatever. You're like, let's just skip the intro. Cowboy Bebop is special. It has one of those intros you just don't skip. You just watch it. It's that good. There's a few other animes that have really good intros as well that you do watch. But yeah, I thought they did a really good job on how they implemented the intros in the live action. Like it kind of they really were like trying to replicate the anime there in terms of like, oh, we show a little bit of the episode and then we implement the intro.
Hmm.
Thought that it was neat. The people in charge of this, the director and you know the crew, camera crew, and all that stuff. They did a good job. Pleasantly surprised.
I'll have to finish it tonight. I think I'm on the last episode.
Ah,
Yeah, I mean,
hopefully it does well enough to make a sequel like a season 2 or
Well, yeah,
something.
there's supposedly
Assuming
this. They said this
assuming
is supposed to be season 1, so I'm guessing that they're gonna be having a season 2.
right. I mean, that's what you would assume, right?
Hmm. But I guess it just depends on how it ends.
Right.
Yeah, it usually depends on how well it does. Like I said, I thought the first episode was good. That's all I saw. But so far, Matt, what did you think of it? I mean, I know you liked it and all, but character wise, acting wise,
It's like I said, there's a bunch of comic relief in it. There is a lot of action. I mean, they do bring in names from some of the bad guys and other people in the anime. Um, but as far as like the story doesn't like follow exactly like the anime does. But like Steve said, they've been doing a lot of character development for certain characters that you don't really see a whole lot in the anime. Like they showed Julia a bunch, and she didn't really have a huge part in the anime. Like you know who she is, and you kind of see her here and there, but you don't see her as much as you do in this anime.
so is that like a good thing, bad thing to you guys? Seeing these characters?
It's not bad. I mean, it's just another like it's kind of like they just put another spin on it to kind of uh
Yeah, like I mentioned before, my first impression of when I saw that they were like putting a different spin on these characters, showing these characters like backstories and changing it, I was kind of upset about it at first. And then the more I started watching more episodes, I was like, you know what? This is actually for the best because otherwise you just wouldn't really see these characters. So Cowboy Bebop the anime is pretty special where it's like the story revolves around bounty hunting, right? It's there's just a group of bounty hunters, space cowboys. Um, but like the overall like story ends up being about Spike's past, the main character's past life, and it slowly in the anime starts to be revealed about what happens in his past. Um, in the live action, it kind of like straight up tells you pretty fast like what's up, you know. Uh, so like the pacing is definitely different from the live action compared to the anime, but I still feel like they're both very good. I definitely prefer the anime over the live action. I'll say that right now. Even though I've only seen like 4 episodes of the live action, I definitely prefer the anime over the live action for sure. But that doesn't mean that I dislike the live action. I think the live action is pretty good. It is different, they're actually combining character backstories from like anime episodes. Like for instance, the very first episode, since you saw the first episode, George, was about a drug called red eye, correct?
Yes.
correct.
Um, that's actually the first episode of the anime. So it's the same thing. However, in the anime, it was like a one and done thing, kind of like many of the episodes are. It's a kind of one and done, and it moves on. In the live action, they're definitely like making that red eye more
Prominent.
of a thing. Yeah, more prominent. There you go. And that's what they're kind of doing. That's what I've noticed in at least the 4 episodes that I saw is that they're kind of like merging the single one and done episodes of the anime into like a bigger storyline in the live action. Matt, you've seen more of the live action. Is that kind of what they're doing here?
Kind of. Like it doesn't mention as much as it does in the first few episodes. After the first few episodes, you really don't hear much about it.
Okay.
They start focusing on other things. But the way that it's pacing, I don't see how they're going to do a second season.
Oh, okay. All right. So you
Really?
actually think that it might finish the whole thing?
Yeah,
You know,
I
and if
mean,
if
the
if
way that
that's
it's been going, it just seems like they're getting closer to, and like I said, I'm on the last episode. It just seems like it's getting closer to the end,
and
like the
here's
big
here's where I would
finale.
like to here's where I would like to talk to you, Matt, about more in-depth stuff, but of course I don't want to spoil anything, so I can't. But I do remember the person in charge of this show, of the live action Cowboy Bebop, he was saying that he loves these characters so much that he would like to make a crap load of episodes. You know, he didn't say it in those words exactly, but he was pretty much implying that he would like for this show to keep going. I don't know if that's what they're gonna do here. I don't know if they are going to end it, because the anime is only like 24 episodes, correct?
Yes.
And while that may seem short, I think 24 episodes for Cowboy Bebop is perfect. Like, they didn't really need to drag it out.
Oh no.
Uh,
Yeah.
it
As far
it
as the
got it,
storytelling and whatnot, I mean, 24 episodes pretty much give it to an end. Now, I
yeah,
mean, unless they're trying to like bring some type of closure to, how something
yeah,
ends or something else.
yeah, of
I
course.
guess that's what they'll do in the live action. But
So
unless there's like
so
some
that's
type of
kind of
standoff, I doubt that. I just don't
so
personally see them moving on with a second season unless they just
that's
change the story around.
that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about, but obviously we're not going to talk about it. But you know, considering that that's what the director or whoever it was that was in charge of that, I think it was the director, that said that he would like to do like a lot of episodes. And that the anime is somewhat different. I mean, sorry, the live action is somewhat different. I'm curious if maybe they'll go to that degree of like changing something like that. I'm trying to be very vague here because again, George hasn't seen it. But yeah, George, I mean, if you definitely like what you see here on the live action, I definitely recommend the anime as well. It's not long, it's only 24 episodes, and the storytelling in that is very good. Um, so yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, no, like I said, I definitely need to check it out, especially since it's short. Um, just one thing with the remakes that, I mean, I know it pisses a lot of people off. But Disney has made some remakes, and people have gotten mad. They're like, "Oh no, Genie would blah 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 blah." They'll say something, but I think
In a
for
way,
something to be live action, I want it to be different than what was the previous source material. I know some people are going to disagree with me, but I mean, because I don't want like an exact copy of, for example, Mulan. I don't want an exact copy of Mulan on live action
I do.
because I don't
well,
because
live act.
There
I
was no
actually,
singing, absolutely
hold on,
none in Mulan.
hold on. I got a counter to that, George. At least,
go for it.
Mulan was actually the one damn Disney remake, live action remake that I wanted to be exactly the same. It's like, that's my favorite Disney movie. I'm just gonna say that right now. Like, you know how like everyone has their like Disney princesses they love. Mulan is my Disney princess, and that was the one remake, live action remake, that I just wish they would have kept it the same as the anime, or so the animation. Sorry. Um, and I still haven't to this day seen the live action because I just felt like it was.
You're not
I don't
missing
know,
out.
man. Yeah, I just did not want to watch it.
Yeah, they didn't sing
But
any
on the other
songs. No Mushu.
but on the
I
other
mean,
hand, yeah, on the other hand, yeah, Mushu's not even there. And they were saying the reason why Mushu wasn't there, which, in case you don't know who Mushu is, he's the dragon, the little Eddie Murphy, right? He's the little dragon that's with Mulan, and like it's like he's the comic relief, correct?
Yeah.
He's not in the movie apparently because the people in charge of this live action said that they're trying to keep Mulan realistic. And I was like, what? You're saying you want to keep the live action realistic and you have Mulan like running on the walls and whatever? I'm going off of what I saw in the trailers here.
oh, yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, man. So I passed on this one. But at the same time, it's like this whole thing about like, should remakes be exactly the same as this original source material? It's hard to to say like yes they should or no they shouldn't, because Lion King is a good example of a movie. I haven't seen it, by the way. I have not seen the. You can't say live action because it's not live action, but the remake, right? I have not seen the remake of Lion King, but from what I have heard, it is exactly the same for the most part. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
ha-
it definitely is the same. Sorry if I just blew out your headphones, but um, I don't know. I mean, Mulan, I will agree, it was awful. I mean, I didn't like the live action. It just was not a very good story. But for me, remakes, like, I don't want them to be the same as for example, like Cowboy Bebop. I wouldn't want that to be the exact same as the anime version because, I mean, if I just wanted to watch the exact same thing, then I'll just watch the anime. If you guys know what I'm trying to say here.
right. Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I felt about the Lion King. That's why I don't want to. That's why I didn't pay to go watch Lion King in theaters, the new one, because I was like, I'll just watch it at home. Like I have the original Lion King. Um. Yeah, but again, it is weird, right? It's like some stuff. It's like I guess like if you're a fan, I guess it comes down to like if you're a big ass fan, you kind of want it to be the same. But if you're not a fan, you're like fine with it being different. I think that's kind of what it just comes down to in the end. Of course, there's exceptions. There's sometimes where fans are like big time fans are like, I'm fine if they change it. But I
Right.
think overall, the feel of how people want remakes is definitely down the lines of I'm a fan of this, it needs to be the same. Whereas if you're not a fan, you're fine with change. And I think that's the overall look at it when it comes to remakes, or how people feel about remakes. A good example of this would be RE3 remake, which is the Resident Evil 3 remake uh, of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, right?
Right.
I'm not a big fan of Resident Evil 3 original, but I do like it. But I'm not like heads over heels over it. Like, so when they announced the remake of RE3 remake, I was like, you know what? I'm okay with change if they want to change it up. So in the end, I did like Resident Evil 3 remake, but overall, Resident Evil 3 remake has its own problems. They didn't utilize Nemesis correct, so it has different problems. But if they would have done a good job of implementing Nemesis into that game, I think I would have been completely fine with the reimagining of Resident Evil 3 remake over the original Resident Evil 3. But the fans, the people that love Resident Evil 3 original, definitely do not like Resident Evil 3 remake because they changed it. So that leaves me to believe that again. I think if you're a fan, if you're a really big fan of the original source material, you end up kind of not wanting people to change it, right?
Right.
You're
Yeah.
you'd be against people doing a remake because you're afraid they're gonna change it and screw it up. And for people that aren't fans of the original source material, they're like, whatever, they can change it because I wasn't a big fan of the original to begin with. So go ahead and change it. Or maybe you just haven't seen the original source material, so you're like, I'll be completely fine with this remake. Um, I think that's how I think that's how it works.
Yeah. I
I'm in
mean,
limbo for remakes. I mean, I'm not for remakes. I'm not against remakes. I don't uh expect too much out of remakes when it comes to them. Like I expect it to be different. It's no different than, watching a movie and then someone coming to you and making a comment saying, "Well, I read the book and it's nothing like the book. The book was so much better." Like,
yeah.
of course, because you can put
Of
more
course.
details in a book. I mean, you can make a book as long as you'd like. You can put as many chapters
Yeah.
as you like. It doesn't change
And it
anything. It's the
and
same
it
thing. It comes down to money, time, and just who is producing it or who is making it that makes it, a good remake or a bad remake or, anything worth watching.
yeah, that's why it's important for whoever's doing remakes, they need to understand what the original source material is. You know, as long as they understand what the original source material is, the remake will come out to be okay, right? Because in this case, for an example, Resident Evil 2 remake, right? It is actually considered a extremely good Resident Evil game. A lot of people love Resident Evil 2 remake. And the reason why is because the people in charge of Resident Evil 2 remake understood the original Resident Evil 2. They understood what the people that were making that game, what they were going for, their mindset, and they took all that into consideration. Plus, some of the people that worked on the original Resident Evil 2 were helping make Resident Evil 2 remake, so that actually helped as well. Which is why Resident Evil 2 remake, in my opinion, is considered a really good remake. And I do like both of them. You know, they both complement each other. Resident Evil 2 remake has a more of, you know, they show different stuff that's not in the original. Stuff makes more sense in the RE2 remake than it does in the original, but you know, they both have their own charm to it. And yeah, it just, again, it all depends on who is in charge of doing the remake. You know, that usually determines if it's going to be good or not.
Yeah, I mean, like if they understand like how you said, the source material, then yeah, I mean, go ahead and go ahead and do the remake. You know, I'm okay with it.
Because
But
if you have someone that just, it's just corporate, you know, if corporate's doing the remake, like for instance, this is the way I saw Lion King, the Lion King remake. It was like, oh, this is just corporate money. This is just corporate being like, we're just gonna get money. We're just gonna make money. You know, it's like the thing that I've heard from people say from the Lion King remake is that it feels soulless, right? And that's the one thing you do not want a remake to be. You do not want it to be soulless. You know easily when a movie is soulless, when it's just for money. Monster Hunter is a good example of this. It
oh
just
man,
felt wrong. It felt soulless. It's like, dude, this is like, there's no point of what's happening here. Like, it's just, this feels like a cash grab.
yeah,
And while I do like certain stuff of that movie, like, oh, this monster looks kind of cool, the overall movie was just terrible. There was no point. It's just give me money, right? It was Paul W.S. Anderson being like, I'll give you guys a shitload of money because that's what I do. I grabbed Resident Evil and I made you guys a shitload of money. So I'm going to do it again. However,
yeah.
he totally screwed up by putting a racist joke in there where he put a racist Chinese joke in this movie where Monster Hunter is extremely popular in China.
Oh man,
So I don't know how the hell that happened or how, you know, nobody said anything about that. Again, no one cared. That's why. It was all about the money. And you know, speaking of Paul W.S. Anderson, you know, leading back a little bit into Resident Evil here on the movie, um, that's why those movies were so different. That's why his visions of Resident Evil was so different from you know, this movie. Like, there's a big contrast here. The director that made the new Resident Evil movie that's out in theaters right now, Welcome to Raccoon City, he is a huge fan of Resident Evil, and it is apparent. Like, you could tell that he's a fan of Resident Evil by watching this movie. Even though he does take his own spin on it, right? He does change it a bit. Paul W.S. Anderson, for as far as I know, he is not a fan of Resident Evil. He's just grabbed that license and he's like, I'm going to make a zombie movie. The first Resident Evil movie that this guy made, Paul W.S. Anderson, had a low budget movie. It was around like, I think $30 million. It was considered low budget. But since so many people went to go watch this and made so much money that the sequel and the movies after that had a huge budget. They were like $100 million budgets. And of course, since, you know, the majority of people that would go watch these Resident Evil movies didn't know much about the games, they ate it up. You know, it was just big action flick movies that you eat popcorn, shut your brain off, eat popcorn, and watch zombie mayhem. You know, in big budget, because that's what he had now. He had big budget for these movies. So yeah, I sorry for the sidetrack, George.
no, it's fine. All I gotta say is let's hope W. Paul S. Anderson, whatever his name is, let's hope he doesn't direct another video game movie. That's all I gotta say. It's like Matt directing a football movie, not soccer, but football.
to give this director credit, Paul W.S. Anderson, to give him credit, he did make Equilibrium.
Now that's a good movie,
Right.
but man, he just needs to stay away from the video game ones.
He made Equilibrium, and that was a good movie. So I give him credit there. It was low budget though, for sure. But he did a good job, and I wish he would just make another one. But at the same time, I don't know if the movie does need another one. It really does.
No, that's a movie you should remake. The live action. Okay, so there's a live action that's probably never going to get made, but it might get made because One Piece is getting made into live action, which Matt will go more into detail about that.
I don't even know if I'll even watch it. Who knows?
Matt, you're gonna watch it. You know you are.
I probably will watch it, but I'm not expecting anything great. I mean, you can't put together the things that they can in an anime and a live action movie and think it's gonna equal up to anything.
Especially when you're talking about One Piece.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna look corny as hell. I just cannot see Luffy stretching all over the place.
Well, I mean, look at Mr. Mr. Fantastic. I thought they did.
Yeah, I know, and it looked ridiculous.
Yeah,
when he was rolling around like a tire.
We'll see how Mr. Fantastic is on Disney's Fantastic Four, because that will be happening in the future, right? And Disney will definitely have a Fantastic Four to merge into this new phase that they're in. What, George? What is the phase that they're in?
I think they're in phase
3 or phase 4.
Phase 4.
Phase 4. Yeah. Because I did watch that movie. The new movie that came out. Eternals. Yeah. I was blanking on the name. Yeah, I did watch Eternals, and I liked.
I thought you were talking about the new Fantastic movie or the most recent one.
Oh no! I
was like, wow. Oh, okay.
Wow. It was like, this is their opportunity.
Another Fantastic movie. It's just they haven't done really well.
Well, here's the thing, Matt. The Fantastic Four movies were being made by Fox. So now it's in the hands of Disney. So obviously Disney is going to throw in, $150 or $200 million budget into this movie. So, you would assume that it would be good. Eternals, I did watch Eternals. Was another movie that I did see, and I was pleasantly surprised. I went in there kind of not knowing too much, other than like some of the characters that I did know about from the video games or the comics. But again, I knew only very little about them. Eternals is actually a very important movie to watch if you want to know what's going to be happening in the future of Marvel movies. And it was well made. I thought it was a good job. I'm really against flashbacks when it comes to movies. I hate it when movies just proceed with the movie, please. Keep going forward. Why are you going back all the time? You could go into a flashback just to justify something that's happening now. Eternals does that a lot. There's a lot of flashbacks in that movie, which irked me. I'm like, oh God, all these flashbacks. But, that aside, I did enjoy the movie. I thought Salma Hayek and Angelina Jolie did a fantastic job. They're veterans, right? Veteran actresses. They did a good job in that movie. I enjoyed their performance, and Salma Hayek actually got her Golden Star in Hollywood recently. So congrats to her, I suppose.
Yeah, and on that Golden Star, did you know the actors actually have to pay to get that done?
What? Really?
Yeah, Hollywood doesn't it's like, oh, here's a gold star. They're like, no, I'm going to pay money so I could get my fingerprints and whatever handprints there.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's not it's not a reward that Hollywood gives you. It's like, oh, I think I'm big enough. I'm going to pay for it. So technically,
people donating enough money and getting their name engraved on a bench at a park or something.
Yeah, exactly. So if us three made enough money, we could technically go put our handprints there.
Like a star?
Yeah, well,
You're saying you could buy the star?
pretty much. I mean, I think the criteria is you do have to be famous. Because
Okay.
because who wants to go see Matt Boobar? Who wants to see that star?
Not this guy.
Sorry, Matt. I'm making fun of you a lot. But who wants to go see Steve Morales? You know, I'm joking. But so the live action that I do want to see, it's not gonna happen. But if One Piece is successful, it probably will happen. Is Naruto?
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 Yeah, no, I said Naruto for one of the listeners. He hates when people call it Naruto.
Naruto. Naruto. That's how Sakura says his name. Naruto in like the English dub.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Joe.
But Sasuke actually says it Naruto.
Yeah, Joe's the guy that hates when people say Naruto. But actually, I was going to talk to you guys about that. Joe, I invited him to come in next week to do the podcast with us. So that way we could talk about Call of Duty and Halo and Battlefield. If you guys are okay with that.
I'm okay with that. I enjoy talking about first-person shooters.
Matthew Bruce?
Oh, what? And where?
Okay, so Matt's okay with it. Right, Matt?
Sure.
So Battlefield 2042, Matt, we were just playing that. Man, it's fun. I was having fun playing. There are some things to that game.
You send me invites or something?
What?
I just thought I saw your name pop up on my screen, inviting me to something.
No. So yeah, Battlefield 2042. The day one patch kind of seemed to fix quite a bit of stuff. Still, I mean, I think it's fun. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Would I play it every day? No. Is it as good as Overwatch? I love Overwatch. No, but it is a lot of fun. I could tell Matt was getting frustrated though. I was getting frustrated because I couldn't see any of the enemies. And
that'd be frustrating.
I was getting shot with shotguns across the map. Made no sense, and I'm shooting them with an LMG. It just makes no sense whatsoever.
There's a lot of stuff that's broken. Like I haven't played the full version of the game, but I played the beta, and I've heard a lot of people talk about, like people that I tend to listen. You know, when I say I listen, when I've heard people, I'm talking about people that I listen to, right? Like people that I want to know their opinion about. I'm not talking about like, oh, I just went on forums and saw these random ass people saying stuff about the game. No, I went to some people that I listened to their opinion about, and they were saying that the game is pretty broken. That you can use an SMG and out snipe a sniper using an SMG. There's a lot of stuff that people are taking advantage of in that game. You might not be able to realize it, like if you play it very casually, because it's, you know, there's so many people running around, I guess, all over the place. But I don't know. I can't say too much about it again because I haven't played the full version myself. But maybe I will soon because I think I do have a 10-hour trial I could try out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I kept getting killed by an SMG from like Matt was saying, across the map. I'm like, what? That makes no sense.
Yeah. There's a lot of exploits in that game, and the more people start knowing about these exploits, the worse it's going to get.
Yep, until they fix the bug, then another thing's going to be broken. Next thing is going to be the pistol. That's going to be broken. But yeah, so the other thing I have on the agenda is, of course, this is Matt's favorite topic, anime. So,
always.
What anime are you watching right now, Matt?
Too many.
Okay,
just way too many.
Too many. George, when you're an anime lover, like Matt is, because you're an anime lover, right, Matt? I mean, it's safe to say that.
Yeah.
I know that feeling. Trust me, I've been there. I managed to crawl out from the depths but I'm always constantly being dragged by all the waifus like, come back. I'm like, oh, I don't know. But there's a lot of animes you watch, when you watch animes. There's
Mhm.
you won't believe how many animes there are, George. There's a
Yeah,
crap load.
I spend every day
So
watching anime, so there's enough anime out there to quench my thirst for anime. Like Netflix, I mean, their new ones are Blue Period and Komi Can't Communicates. I didn't know that they did more episodes for Eden Zero, and so I started watching that again as well. Crunchyroll, of course, has way
I
too
am
many.
hey Matt, Eden Zero. I'm somewhat interested in that because
Fairy Tail.
I watched Fairy Tale and I liked it.
Hmm.
It
Yeah,
was
there's
good.
a lot of similarities, and you actually kind of see like hints of the
Yeah,
other characters. But of course, it's made by the same guy that made Fairy Tail, so
right.
you do
Yeah, like
see
I saw
similarities in each of the main characters.
I saw Fairy Tale and then I was like, huh, I wonder if the manga's continuing, right? Because
Hmm.
the anime ends wide open, right? So I started looking up the manga and that's when I saw Eden Zero manga and I'm like, Eden Zero? It's like, why does Lucy have happy and like
Hmm.
not like what? What's going on here? Like, what is this? And then
Oh
I was
yeah.
like, oh, okay, it's the same guy, the same creator. It's just, his same art style, kind of same character designs, but different story, correct?
Yeah, it's like watching like One Piece Man or One Punch Man and seeing Mob Psycho. Same person. Or Fire Force and Soul Eater. Same person.
Right. Well, I didn't know that. That's a good point. Yeah. Although I watched Soul Eater a long time ago, and I was recently watching some Fire Force, and I was like, yeah. Now that since you mentioned that, yeah, I do see the similarities.
Oh yeah. So I mean the list is too long to mention. I could sit here and just tell you all the animes I'm watching, but my Crunchyroll list is long, my Funimation list is long. Netflix not so much, but I mean it's there's a few on there.
I did see your Instagram, Matt, about those mangas that you had,
Oh yeah.
and that solo leveling. Ooh, I'm gonna
It
have to.
is good.
I I I, I wanna I wanna support the author, like the creator. So I
Mhm.
would I wouldn't mind buying some of those. How many volumes are there? You know?
So far, I've got all three. I just finished the third one just a second ago. I was like in my downtime, like reading a little bit here and there, and so I just finished it just a second ago. And so the great thing about solo leveling is that one, it's amazing. It's amazing
Right.
story. The artwork is amazing, and like the manga itself is all in color. So they took like a webtoon and
Nice.
they made it into a manga. And
I
so
was
like
about to
every
ask you
page
that.
is full of cover or color. Where like in some of the regular manga, you get like one or two pages at the very beginning, like an insert that kind of is in color, but
Yeah.
then the rest of it is all black and white. Where solo leveling is color all throughout it.
And Matt what was the price of that? I'm assuming it was more expensive, right?
Not so much. I want to say that it
Really?
was. I mean, it's more expensive than uh like your regular mangas. Like regular ones, they can range anywhere from 12 to 13, and solo leveling was 20.
20? Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, because it's all colored.
But it's like big pages, lots of pages, and I mean it's a good solid read.
So that's a good manga, George, or manhwa, because it is made by someone in South Korea, correct?
Yes, yeah, it's a Korean
Right.
manga.
That's a good one, George, to keep an eye out. Um, Whenever it eventually gets its anime adaptation, because it will happen. It is very popular.
Oh yeah.
Which I'm surprised it hasn't gotten one yet, but it's only a matter of time before it does. And hopefully, please don't screw it up.
And George, if
This
you
one
don't
deserves.
like manga, I mean they do have the light novel for it.
A light novel?
Yeah, so a light novel is like reading a book. It's just
Mhm.
all words. There's no pictures, no manga parts in there. It's just like reading an actual light novel. It's not as long as an actual novel because they put so many chapters into a book, usually on mangas. So with light novels, it's just like small little inserts. But
Okay.
Which believe it or not, there's a lot of animes, or I don't know about a lot, but there's animes that are not mangas; they're light novels.
like you've been watching that Mushu Tensei, the jobless reincarnation. It's actually a light
Yeah.
novel as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Usually it can start off as a light novel, which then gets a manga adaptation, and then the manga adaptation gets an anime adaptation.
Oh.
So it's like the source material from the source material from the source material.
Oh yeah. So there's a few of them out there that are light novels like that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, shit.
There-
that's a good anime. So yeah, I'll be.
There was
I'll
something
definitely be on the lookout for it.
there's something I wanted to bring up, George, if that's okay.
Go for it.
The new Spider-Man movie. There was a trailer, right? I haven't seen it. Because I don't want to get spoiled. But since we were in the week of since we are in Cyber Monday, or at least Cyber Monday just ended, right? Because it's like Black Friday, and then all the sales continue onto Cyber Monday, and then Cyber Monday does sales. That's when I bought my computer. I bought a computer that had a RTX 3090, because for some reason the RTX 3090 graphics cards. Well, I know the reason. They're extremely hard to get, right? Scalpels have been just buying everything. PS5s, Xbox Series X's, graphics cards, and the 3090s are almost impossible to get. You can buy them by a scalper, but it's going to cost you up to $2,500 to $3,000 for this graphics card.
No, not fam.
And the reason why people are actually buying them for that price, like if you go to eBay, you actually see bids, people paying that much money to buy these. It's because cryptocurrency mining, the RTX 3090 is a graphics card that is widely popular for crypto mining. So that is why they're in high demand. That's why people are paying those ridiculous prices for an RTX 3090 graphics card. And at this point, I'm like, you know what? There's not going to be any. I'm not going to be able to get a hold of one of these graphics cards anytime soon. And by that point, there'll probably be like another graphics card. So I was like, I would just keep my eyes open for Cyber Monday and see if I see a pre-built PC that has a 3090 in it. And I found one right on Cyber Monday. There was a sale. So I purchased it. I purchased this new computer for $3,000, which is pretty much the same price for this graphics card. So the way I see it is like, oh, I got the whole computer for free. I bought the graphics card and I got everything else for free with it. It's still expensive, right? But it is an investment for, my content creation. So
right.
I went ahead and did that. And since it was Cyber Monday, the marketing team on this new Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man No Way Home, they're geniuses. Whoever's in charge of the advertising on Spider-Man knows exactly what they're doing and probably deserve a raise, because they took advantage of the Cyber Monday thing and they called it Spider Monday, and they put the tickets on sale for the new Spider-Man movie today. At the time of this recording, they sold out. It was like early screening, right?
Yeah.
Or early access to watch the movie. They sold out to the point to where it was like in game. When Avengers Endgame went on sale for pre-sale, they actually crashed the online websites because people were trying to buy all these tickets. And the exact same thing happened to the Spider-Man movie. All these tickets were sold. They're sold out now, and all these websites crashed, which is crazy because we're in times of a pandemic, right? But a lot of people are excited for this movie, and when they announced this Spider Monday thing, it was Tom Holland came out, like it was just like a little trailer, right? Tom Holland came out and he's like, hey, he's like, it's Spider Monday, it's Cyber Monday, but it's Spider Monday. And he's like, to help me celebrate this special day, I have like 2 special friends that I wanted to introduce to y'all. Hinting,
Right.
Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, right?
Yep.
But the people that came out was MJ, the actress that plays MJ, and then his friend, right? That plays Ned.
Yeah.
They came out and they're like, sorry, Peter, were you expecting someone else? I'm like, no, who else would I be talking about? So it's like, it's very apparent that, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are going to be in this movie. They are going to be in this movie. It's just, they're doing such a good job at not showing them. And,
Right.
damn. By the way, these Spider-Man tickets, they are on eBay right now for $3,000 to $10,000.
Damn.
Which is crazy.
All right. Well, I'm gonna put that on my credit card, and we're all 3 gonna go.
Yeah, for one. $3,000 for one ticket.
$9,000 movie.
I'll get the tickets.
Yeah, just
you
to
guys
watch
get
it
the
early.
popcorn. Yeah, I mean, they cost
So
about
yeah,
the same.
this movie is like, I personally feel like if it weren't for like the whole pandemic thing that was happening, COVID, this would be hitting the levels of Avengers Endgame. Like, so many people are excited about this that it's crazy. It's nuts, man. This
Yeah,
movie's
I
gonna be
mean-
big. This movie,
It's gonna be the biggest crossover since Avengers. Literally.
yeah, this is gonna be
'Cause
huge. There's so much nostalgia because people love Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. There's some people that love that guy. So
Spider-Man
yeah.
3 is the best movie. Where he's dancing and he's all emo. The best acting I've ever seen.
the symbiote Venom Spider-Man, Black Suit Spider-Man.
Yeah. I'm joking on that. But
Yeah.
the first movie was good. I haven't seen the Andrew Garfield movies. He's a fantastic actor.
I like the first one. He did 2, right? I like the first one, like when the one that he fights Lizard Man.
Yeah.
The other one, for some reason, they decided to give him like a different accent on the second movie. I don't know why, but he has like some like New Jersey accent or something like that. It's weird, man. It was an odd choice. Yeah. I didn't really feel like he was a good Peter Parker in that movie, but the overall movie was okay because Electro was in there and like I think Electro was the only villain in that movie, but I can't remember.
Speaking of accents, remember on Age of Ultron, Wanda? I guess WandaVision.
Yeah, her accent changed. Yeah.
She had a Russian accent, and now you don't even hear it anymore. I'm like, what? I was like, okay.
They're preparing George for the implementation of her being Magneto's daughter, I guess.
I guess. I mean, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I'm excited. For a second there, I was all heroed out. I just did not want to watch another hero movie. But now that Spider-Man's coming out, I'm like, man, I want to get back into it. And
yeah. Spider-Man is, in my opinion, Spider-Man is the most recognizable of all the Marvel heroes. Avengers helped a lot of other people that just didn't know, realize like, oh, Captain America is awesome, and Hulk and Black Widow and all these other characters, but Spider-Man has always been well recognized from the beginning, right? X-Men was also there as well. Of course, Wolverine got extremely popular because of the X-Men movies, but X-Men has been popular, but nowhere near as popular as Spider-Man and Batman and Superman, right? I think those 3 are like the top ones for sure in terms of superhero recognition. Yeah, Batman is up there too. He's up there, George. If you look up into the sky, you see the bat symbol, the bat sign or whatever.
Everyone loves Superman.
Yeah.
If you look in the grave, you'll see Superman.
Wow. The minute you brought up Batman, Steve, I'm like, oh, like Matt's gonna jump in somewhere. Like
here's the thing. I know you guys I know you guys were talking about Batman versus Superman or whatever on y'all's podcast, the one I wasn't there on, but I want to say a little bit of something about that, just as a little side note, or just my own opinion. I think it's all about perspective on who would win a battle between Batman and Superman, right? If there was preparation, Batman would win. If there was preparation involved. But if you were to literally just throw them in a room and say good luck, Superman would win. There's just no answer for but. Superman would win against Batman if there was no prep. Just throw, if Bruce Wayne was butt ass naked in there, he's going to lose. He will not win against Superman. But if he had time to prepare and get ready, he would be able to stand up against Superman. So that's all I have to say about that in terms of the verses. It's just all about the situation at hand.
Yeah, Matt knows where I stand on Superman, but we're not gonna talk about it because we all know Superman will win. So, anyways, we're moving on. So last week, Matt, Steve, Matt and I talked about Avatar: The Last Airbender. No, actually, no. Okay, let's talk about. So first of all, I don't know where I'm going with this. I completely lost I lost my thought.
It only took like 2 seconds for George to lose himself.
It happens to me too, George. But I'll help you out here.
We're
I'll just bring up a
about,
topic until you get.
We were talking about Dragon Ball Z, and me and Matt just want to know why.
Why?
Why do you like it? Because Matt's not a big fan of it. I'll watch it, but I'm not too much of a fan of it either. I'll watch it. It's good, but
I'm actually amazed that you're not a fan of it, George, considering that Dragon Ball Z is the way it is because of Superman.
Yeah. And I told Matt that, and he's like, "No, it's not." I'm like, "Bro, it is."
The creator, Akira Toriyama, was inspired by Superman. Like Superman inspired him, and that's why he made the Saiyans the way they are. Of course, Goku is he's supposed to be that the Monkey King or whatever the hell from Journey to the
Son Goku
to the West. Yeah, so there's that there, of course, but the overall, like what they do, that's all Superman, and the creator admitted that. Like he said that, yeah, and I was like, I'm making my own Superman right here. So
I did like the.
I don't know,
movies.
man. It's like.
Or the one movie.
I think the animes are they have charm. I don't know. There's just something about them that I like about it. That I like about Dragon Ball in general. If you're talking about the franchise as a whole, you have to look back at the original, which is when Goku was little. Dragon Ball, which leads into Dragon Ball Z, which then leads into Dragon Ball GT, which is not made by Akira Toriyama. So you just kind of ignore that for a certain point. I think Akira Toriyama did create Super Saiyan 4 though, which is the only thing that people like about that series, that version. But yeah, Dragon Ball Super. In terms of anime, Dragon Ball for sure is definitely the most recognized in terms of anime worldwide. It is super popular for sure in, South America. Down there in like Argentina and Brazil and all that. They love that stuff. They love Dragon Ball. To the point to where, like, I remember when they showed the very last episode of Dragon Ball Super, which was the new Dragon Ball episodes, they had a parade. They threw a whole parade. A whole city threw a parade for the last episode of Dragon Ball Super. And everyone was out there. It was like, like those Thanksgiving festivals, like parades with the big balloons and everything, and everyone's dancing and marching bands and everyone's there in the streets. Yeah. They had that. They had that for the final episode of Dragon Ball Super. So yeah, like love it or hate it, it is indeed super, super recognizable. When people think anime, they think of that. They think of Dragon Ball, even if they've never seen it. They recognize it, and kudos for Akira Toriyama for making a distinctive art style. That's the only thing I kind of don't like about modern anime is that it all kind of looks the same. Even though I do like it, right? I do like that art style. It's just it kind of all blends in together. I kind of dig the uniqueness when that kind of gets me interested in animes. That's why I like One Piece. It has such a distinctive art style that it doesn't. There's nothing else that looks like it. It's anyone else that's looking at it from the outside is like, this is the most bizarre looking, wackiest characters I've ever seen in my life. But that's what I like about it. I like the wackiness. I like that it's fun to watch. But yeah.
So, yeah, I mean,
Well, that explains why I don't care for Dragon Ball.
yeah. Last
This
week
is
we were
Superman.
talking. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's why you don't like it. I just haven't seen enough.
It's all
I think.
falling together.
Yeah, I mean that would be a good example. If you hate Superman because of how powerful he always is, you're not gonna like Dragon Ball because that's what it's all about. It's all about power. It's all about being strong, and I mean that's not what it's all about, but it definitely like it has Superman levels of fighting in that, especially on the new Dragon Balls, like Dragon Ball Super. It's like they've surpassed the Super Saiyan levels. Now they're Super Saiyan gods. They're entering the god level. And that's where you're truly seeing like the Superman levels of stuff.
Yeah, because we were talking about it last week, and Matt, I'm quoting Matt here, but whenever Matt asks a person, it's like if someone says, "Oh yeah, I love anime," he's like, "What's your favorite anime?" Then that person says, "Oh, Dragon Ball." Then Matt, you told me that you get a good chuckle from it. You're like, that's not an anime, peasant.
I'm like I said, you love it or hate it. I mean, it's you have to recognize that it is indeed like it is
Hate it. I've
the most
watched them.
it is the most recognizable. Like love it or hate it, it is the most it's a fact. It is the most recognizable anime out of all animes in existence. Akira, which is another anime you didn't really like, Matt. That is another anime that is extremely not I wouldn't say extremely recognizable from a person's like a regular person's perspective, but in terms of someone that creates things in like the movie business and animes themselves, there's references from Akira in modern anime because you just cannot. It's just that influential. Every time you see someone like sliding on the ground and it does that shot of them sliding and you see the dirt rising up, that is a direct reference to Akira when Kaneda slides on his bike. It does that like close up shot of him sliding and he's going away and you see all that dirt fly up in there. It's just Akira is influential on everything, anything anime. Same thing with Berserk. Berserk also has that influential theme. However, Berserk is kind of like a little bit more niche because it is so dark in tone. Not for everybody, but it definitely does have that influence on filmmakers and stuff. Berserk and Akira, but for sure Akira.
So Matt, since we're talking about animes you don't like, what are other animes you don't like?
Trying to think of some.
Not very much. Eh?
They did a revamp kind of Inuyasha, and I'm not really a big fan of it.
No.
So they did
You
one.
didn't like the original either, though, right?
No, the original was fun. I watched it, and then I never got to really finish it. But I tried to like go back and watch it, and it's kind of like one of those ones where I don't know, it didn't age well.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like
didn't
going
age well
back
as
and watching like Power Rangers, and you start watching it and realizing, man, this is just so corny. Like, how did I like this as a kid?
got
And
it.
it's kind of the
That's
same
what
with
you mean
like
by
the
age
anime.
well?
Yeah,
You mean age well by like in terms of like the dialogue and all that?
well, like into like today's society of like anime, like what you expect from it. I guess in a way, I guess it could be like Akira. Like I didn't care for Akira because of the art style. The art style just didn't really catch me. It's kind of the
Right.
same for like going back and trying to watch some of those older shows. It just, I guess when you were younger or whatnot, things just seemed a lot better or different to you. It's kind of like going and like playing an old Nintendo 64 game. Like going back and playing like Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. Like I thought the graphics and everything were great whenever I played that game. You go back now and you start playing it and you're like, wow, like this seems like a whole lot different than what I remember when I grew up and was playing it a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's a
it's kind
big
of the
I
same
deal.
kind
way
of
with
have
animes.
I kind of have like the opposite feeling of that. Like I enjoy like the old stuff. Like I like seeing like the beginnings and like how far game development has gone from the old polygonal. Like yeah, it does look bad, but it still has like that charm to it.
Oh yeah, it has charm to
Where
it. It's just it didn't look the same way as like when you're growing up or when you were watching it on, a tube TV or watching it on, like an old school TV. Like everything seems great at that time because, it was steadily getting better than, its predecessors. So it's usually how that is like trying to go back and watch it, but like I couldn't get into like the new Inuyasha stuff just because the story just wasn't there for me. And it was kind of like Boruto in a way. Like Boruto didn't really catch my eye after trying to like watch it for a bit, but then like after going back and like getting through some of the character development, it's gotten better.
Mhm.
So are the villains a lot stronger on Boruto?
They really haven't showed too many of them. Like they've had like some kind of somewhat big stories with the uh I'm trying to think of what the name of them are. Like Kaguya, like the Atsukis, I think. Atsukis, or I can't remember what their clan is, but those people from the moon. Kind of like in
Oh,
Shippuden, you had the big old boss Kaguya.
oh, okay, okay. So,
Like you have a couple fights with them, and then like some of the story progresses, and like you get to learn a lot more about them. Like they're probably like the bigger bosses right now, and there's like this big group in there as well. Kind of like what the Akatsuki were,
okay. So yeah,
Right.
you.
but
I don't want to spoil too much because Steve hasn't seen it
mhm.
yet.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you guys were talking about some stuff, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" That's
but
fine.
spoiler
Don't
alert.
worry. If I don't know what y'all talking about, it's not really spoilers to me because y'all said names, but I'm like,
I was
not.
just
It's
saying
not coming to
name
mind.
Oh,
like the name of the
Not coming to
clan.
mind.
I'll give you a
Yeah,
spoiler,
Like,
yeah.
Steve.
I know.
Dread
have you
dies.
finished Shippuden?
No, because I'm watching it with my brother. So
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I otherwise I would have finished it by now for sure. But since I watch it with my brother and I'm in no rush, it's like, what's the rush to just binge
Wait,
watch it?
understand.
So just take my time. Um, yeah. Do you guys hear about the new COVID that's been spreading apparently?
I
Yeah,
did.
I did hear about that, and right
What was
now,
it
I
called? It's
mean,
like is it dude, it literally sounds like a Decepticon or something like that. It's bizarre. I'm like, what the hell? Why does it sound like Unicron or something? It's like,
Yeah.
is it, do they know that it's just going to devour the world? Because that's what Unicron is. Unicron is just a big transformer that turns into a planet and he just
Yeah.
devours planets. So like this new COVID is called like
Omicron.
Omnicron. There you go. I was like, what the hell? When I heard that, I was like, dude, this is like some sort of Decepticon or something, some sort of transformer. Omnicron. Apparently, Japan, George, you know how we had plans to go to Japan in 2019?
yes, sir.
Got the tickets and everything, or like was preparing and like I got like I pre-ordered the tickets and stuff like that and everything. We were ready to go, and then COVID became a huge problem. So we weren't able to go. and then we're like, maybe we can go next year, like, you know, 2022 or something. But now this new variant actually made Japan close its borders today.
Again. Today?
Right now, it closed its borders. No one is allowed to leave or come in because of this new COVID. Or I mean, if you're a citizen from Japan and you come in, they'll let you come in, but I think you're instantly quarantined, and then I don't know what procedure goes after that. It's not to the degree of like, you know, Edo period, like the Tokugawa, you know, has ruled Japan for hundreds of years, and no one is allowed to come in, no one is allowed to come out. If you try to leave Japan, we will capture your ass and execute you. If you're seen coming in to Japan, we will execute you. You know, it's like that was some hardcore stuff back then. Japan, it seems like Japan is just really good at closing their borders. I don't mean that as like a racist thing or anything like that, but like according to history, they've done it before. Of course, you know, it was the Tokugawa shogunate that did that, which I'm going to step a little bit into history here, if that's okay with you, George.
No.
Do you know a lot about Japanese history?
I don't know too much. I know a lot about World War II, but before that, no.
Yeah. Matt, do you know anything? Because I know you watch anime. I know anime
just what I've learned in anime, like Edo period and stuff like that.
The Edo period?
I haven't like read up on a whole bunch of it.
Rurouni Kenshin is in the Edo period, correct? Or is it not?
Yeah.
It is in the Edo period? Yeah. And I think Samurai Showdown, which is a SNK fighting game, I think that's also in the Edo period, which the Edo period is between like the 1600s to like the late 1800s, I believe. That's when the Edo period was around. The Edo period is when a time in Japan where the Tokugawa family just took over. Like they were in charge and they ruled by military power, right? So a lot of the Tokugawa families, they were generals and stuff like that. So samurais were pretty much just underneath them, right? Or samurais are the equivalent of like knights. They serve a lord, you know? That's the way I always saw it. And yeah, man, the Tokugawa ruled for quite a bit until eventually what was the era that took over after that? The Meiji era, or the Meiji period, where Japan finally fought back, or I guess I should say the imperial government fought back and decided to overthrow the Tokugawa family and, you know, plunge the Edo period, ended the Edo period, and that's when the Meiji era started, where the government started to enforce everything, not the Tokugawa family. So that's when they started to like, yeah, you can't have swords anymore. It's against the law. And that's when you have like a movie I really like, The Last Samurai. It's Tom Cruise is in it. That takes place during the Meiji period, during the phase where the Edo period ended, and they were starting to ban like samurais and you can't carry swords anymore and stuff like that. And crap, I want to say Demon Slayer, which is an anime. George, I want to say you've seen an episode of that, or a couple maybe.
Yeah, I've seen
Demon Slayer
season 1.
Oh, you've seen half of season 1?
Yeah.
I believe that's around the Meiji period, which would be like the late 1800s. But I want to say, because they do go to Tokyo in Demon Slayer, and it looked, I mean, hell, the newest movie is on a train, like a steam train, right, Matt?
In which part?
Demon Slayer, like
Demon Slayer.
Yes, yeah, Mugen Train. Yeah,
yeah.
I believe it was like a coal train on that.
Right. So that would mean that it would have to be early 1900s at least in Demon Slayer. So it would be in the Taisho period. It would be after, because it's the Edo period and then the Meiji period, and then it's the Taisho period. Which, in case you don't know, the Taisho period is the beginning of Japan culture. You know, the Japan that you love right now, that like the like, man, I love the culture of Japan. It all started in the Taisho period, which is in like the early 1900s. That's when, funny enough, that's when a lot of food imports and trading like was like hardcore. You know, like Japan was totally like accepting like trades, you know, by that time, from accepting all this like different cultures to come in and everything, while completely the opposite from Tokugawa, right? Tokugawa had like no one is allowed to like, they didn't want anybody like being influenced or learning like other cultures or something like that. So they kept it very controlling by not having anybody leave or come in. But during the Taisho period, definitely was the complete opposite, right? That's when they adopted curry. You know, for the longest time, and I think I even told you this, George, I always thought curry was Japanese,
You know, it's Indian.
because it's just like it's so engraved into their culture. I always thought that curry was Japanese, but no. During the Taisho period, that's when Japan, you know, were influenced and took in and adopted the curry, you know, thing, and it's now part of their culture as well. But yeah, curry is indeed an Indian dish, which I actually learned from watching Food Wars. I had to watch Food Wars to know that. I was like, wait, curry is Indian? I didn't know that. Which is why I like Food Wars. I like that anime, even though it's very fan servicey. You actually do learn stuff from that.
It is a good movie. I mean, anime. Do you have curry in the Philippines, Matt?
I don't believe so. That's more of an
Yeah, I
Indian
don't think
thing.
so. Yeah, because I have a friend that's I know people from the Philippines as well, and I talked to someone that's over there, and they told me that curry is, while they do like curry over there, it's not like part of their culture. Like they go to like a restaurant and order it, you know, like an Indian restaurant stuff. So
Okay.
yeah.
But yeah.
Apparently they don't have a Reese's peanut butter cups over there. I mean, they don't have a Reese's cereal over there either, and people chow or muddy buddies, like Chex Mix and all that. There's some weird stuff that I didn't realize other countries didn't have that we have over here in the United States.
Oh yeah. We have a lot of stuff. Like I look on the Chive, and they always show like an American section in different parts of the world, and just some of the stuff I'm like, well, we don't even have that here, but it is definitely what Americans would eat. But so we better end the podcast here. It's already 2:13, and I gotta edit this. So I am Jorge Soto, George Soto, and you can follow me on Instagram, Soto Photo Twitch, DolphinPond on Twitch. You can follow this YouTube channel, Typical Nerd Stuff Podcast, and go like and subscribe. All right, Matt, tell people what you're up to and where they can find you.
I'm Matt. You can find me at Fishy Penguin on just about everything. Fishy Penguin on Instagram, fishiexpenguin on Twitch and Twitter, and those are the most that I use at the time. Also, I guess on TikTok.
Oh yeah, go check out his new TikTok video. He's hot. I'm just saying, he's gonna make you wet. In a
Wow.
So Steve, just tell people where they can find you.
You can find me, Steve, also known as Camaro Tetsuo. You can find me at Camaro Tetsuo on Twitter. You can find me at Camaro Tetsuo on Twitch, Instagram, pretty much a lot of social medias. However, on YouTube, you can find me on the Death Count YouTube channel. And yeah, that's about it for me.
We are the three amigos, and I'm joking. We'll see you next week.